The NFL has long been a stage for peak athletic performances, but every season new names emerge that make viewers ask, is this person even human? From Olympic-level speed to strongman-style power, these are the true freaks of nature dominating the league, and no one embodies that more than Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry isn't just big. He's colossal. Standing 6 feet 3 inches, weighing 247 pounds, with legs like concrete pillars and an arm strong enough to flatten a heavyweight boxer, Henry isn't just big for a running back, he's big even compared to linebackers. Most players with his physique would be on the defensive line, but not Henry. He turns that bizarre combination of size, strength, and speed into a signature weapon that has made him one of the most terrifying powerbacks in NFL history. But Henry isn't simply the kind of RB who just plows straight up the middle like a bulldozer. He has the speed to bounce outside and leave cornerbacks behind as if they're standing still. Since 2018, only Tyreek Hill has reached 20-plus mph more times than Henry while carrying the ball. And when it comes to long touchdowns, only Adrian Peterson and Chris Johnson have more 80-plus yard runs than the King. In other words, every time Henry touches the ball, there's a real chance he might take it all the way to the end zone. And that's still not the scariest part. Henry possesses what many consider the most devastating stiff arm in NFL history, a perfect blend of reach and force, powerful enough to shove defenders backward or even throw them to the ground without mercy. This freakishness didn't appear out of nowhere. It started in high school, where Henry became the greatest high school running back ever. At Yulee High School in Florida, he recorded 12,124 career rushing yards, including 4,261 yards in his senior year alone. Then at Alabama, he continued to demolish opponents, 2,219 yards and 28 touchdowns in his junior year, along with the prestigious Heisman Trophy. Now Henry brings all of that to Baltimore. And in his very first season with the Ravens, he's already rewriting the franchise's history. In Week 4, he ran for an 87-yard touchdown, the longest in team history. Not long after, he surpassed 10,000 career rushing yards and 100 touchdowns in the same game, becoming just the 5th player ever to reach both milestones. By season's end, Henry had 1,921 yards, 16 touchdowns, and led the NFL with 5.9 yards per carry, all at age 30. Defenders know exactly what's coming, yet they still can't do anything except sacrifice their bodies. In the first half, Henry wears them down. By the fourth quarter, trying to stop him is like stepping in front of a freight train barreling downhill. If Derrick Henry is a machine that crushes everything in his path on the ground, then DK Metcalf is the perfect example of an athlete you can tell is not normal just by looking at him. He looks like he was carved out of granite, yet moves with a smoothness and speed that seem impossible. At 6 feet 4 inches and 235 pounds, Metcalf has the kind of physique any gym would proudly hang as a poster. At the NFL Combine, there was even a report claiming he had just 1.6% body fat, something biologically impossible, but it shows just how freakish he appeared. And with that build, Metcalf shouldn't be that fast. Yet he ran a 4.33 in the 40-yard dash. On the field, he has hit over 22 miles per hour while carrying the ball. On top of that, he even tried competitive track, running a 10.37 in the 100m in 2021, a time that made professional sprinters raise their eyebrows. But Metcalf's craziest display of speed came in his legendary chase-down play. Budda Baker looked to have a free pick-six after intercepting Russell Wilson. Nothing but open field ahead, until Metcalf came flying into the frame from behind, starting 4 yards back, nearly 40 pounds heavier than Baker and charging like a missile. He caught him and dragged him down just before the end zone, creating one of the most iconic individual effort plays in NFL history. And it's not just the speed. Metcalf bullies cornerbacks at the line of scrimmage, uses his power to box out defenders, and wins jump balls with hands strong enough to rip the ball away from anyone daring to contest him. In 2020, he broke Steve Largent's long-standing record with 1,303 receiving yards and has had multiple games over 160 yards. Looking at him, you might think Metcalf follows a strict, clean diet, but no. He describes himself as a candy-type person. He eats 1 meal a day, drinks 1 cup of coffee, and downs 3 to 4 bags of candy. Yes, that is his secret. Now, in Pittsburgh, Metcalf brings his combination of size, speed, and brutality to the AFC North, a division known for heavy hitting. The Steelers immediately locked him down with a 5-year, $150 million contract. Because when you have a freak of nature, like DK, you don't let him walk. Unless you're Jerry Jones. Because only Jerry Jones would dare let a talent like Micah Parsons walk away. In just 4 seasons, Parsons has recorded 52.5 sacks, becoming one of only 2 players in NFL history to post at least 12 sacks in each of his first 4 seasons. The other is the legendary Reggie White. But what makes Parsons a true freak isn't just the numbers, it's how he gets them. At 250 pounds, running a 4.39 in the 40-yard dash is something you expect in Madden, not real life. His 10-yard split is just 1.59 seconds. Fast enough that before an offensive tackle can even fully extend out of his stance, Parsons is already flashing past his line of sight. With that blend of speed and power, he's not just an edge rusher, he's everything on the Cowboys' defense. Dallas lined him up everywhere. On the edge, at middle linebacker, even dropping into coverage on slot receivers. He can run stride for stride with a tight end, chase down a running back, or pierce through the line like a high-pressure drill. Interestingly, during his rookie year, Parsons wasn't even planned as a full-time pass rusher, not until DeMarcus Lawrence got injured. The Cowboys let him loose, and the result was 13 sacks, 84 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, and the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. And yet, despite all that, the Cowboys still let him go. The Green Bay Packers weren't crazy enough to do the same. They jumped into the trade immediately and handed Parsons a record-breaking contract. 4 years, $186 million, making him the highest-paid non-quarterback in NFL history. And indeed, Parsons instantly turned the Packers' defense into one of the strongest units in the league, the kind of impact you get from dropping a superweapon into the middle of a lineup. But if Parsons is an offense's worst nightmare, then Josh Allen is a defense's. Allen plays quarterback in a way the league has never really seen before, a bizarre blend of Cam Newton's power, Brett Favre's recklessness, and an arm that can launch a 60-yard throw without even setting his feet. His arm is so powerful that safeties are forced to line up significantly deeper than usual, because even a moment's hesitation means he's ripping a deep ball across the field. But what makes him a true freak of nature shows up when the pocket collapses. Most QBs escape, avoid contact, or try to throw the ball out of bounds. Allen. He treats defenders like bowling pins. He hurdles like a track athlete, stiff-arms linebackers, trucks cornerbacks, and then gets up smiling like nothing happened. It's no coincidence he has 65 rushing touchdowns in his career and once scored 15 rushing TDs in a single season, tying the all-time record for a quarterback. And what makes things even crazier is that while Allen runs like a powerback, he's still one of the most dangerous passers in the NFL. No other quarterback in history has recorded 5 straight seasons with at least 35 total touchdowns passing and rushing combined. He even had a game where he scored 3 passing TDs and 3 rushing TDs, something no one had done since the AFL-NFL merger. With Allen, defenses never know whether they're about to face a bulldozer or a long-range cannon, and that uncertainty is the nightmare they have to live with every week. But if Allen is a bizarre blend of size and talent, then Xavier Worthy is the pure embodiment of speed. At the 2024 NFL Combine, Worthy shattered every record by running a 4.21 in the 40-yard dash, the fastest ever recorded in the event's history. Standing 5 feet 11 inches and weighing just 165 pounds, Worthy doesn't have the bodybuilder build like others on this list, but he has something you cannot teach, cannot train, and cannot fake: natural, God-given speed. Worthy moves like a lightning bolt, every stride looking like someone hit the fast-forward button. He outruns defenders even when they have the angle, turning what should be safe plays into instant highlights. And the key is that he's not just a straight-line runner. In Kansas City's system, Worthy has become a Swiss Army knife for Patrick Mahomes: screens, motions, jet sweeps, short slants. The moment the ball touches his hands, any play carries big play potential. Worthy's NFL debut proved exactly that. His first career touch was a 21-yard touchdown against the Ravens. Minutes later, he added a 35-yard TD. It didn't take long for the league to understand: when it comes to pure speed, no one is faster than Xavier Worthy. But if you take Worthy's weight, double it, then add another dozen pounds, you arrive at a different kind of monster: Dexter "Sexy Dexy" Lawrence. Standing 6 feet 4 inches, weighing 342 pounds, with nearly 35-inch arms, Lawrence is the kind of person whose strength you can feel just by looking at him. Drafted 17th overall by the Giants in 2019, he immediately became an anchor on their defense. The 2022 season was his breakout year, with 7.5 sacks, 68 tackles, and a first-team All-Pro selection. In 2023, he tied the NFL record for most pressures in a single game by an interior defender, 15 pressures. Then in 2024, before a Week 12 injury ended his season, Lawrence already had 9 sacks, the highest of his career in less than 1 full year. But what makes Lawrence a true freak is his unimaginable speed and agility. A 342-pound man should not be able to explode out of his stance that quickly. He drives offensive linemen backward like they're training bags, chases running backs to the sideline like a defensive end, and destroys both run and pass concepts with just a few initial steps. And then, if you think wrecking everything at the line of scrimmage is the limit, there's someone who turns destruction into art, Lamar Jackson. Before Lamar Jackson stepped onto the NFL stage, he faced a challenge that almost no other first-round quarterback ever had to deal with, convincing teams that he was actually a quarterback. Multiple teams asked Lamar to work out as a wide receiver at the 2018 Combine, even though during 3 years at Louisville, he didn't catch a single pass. Instead, Lamar threw for over 9,000 yards, 69 passing touchdowns, ran for another 4,132 yards, and scored 50 rushing touchdowns, becoming one of the most dangerous dual-threat players in NCAA history. But the doubts followed him. People like former Colts GM Bill Polian claimed Lamar was too small, his throwing mechanics too raw, and that his non-traditional style didn't fit the quarterback position. Yet two people saw what everyone else missed: Andy Reid of the Chiefs and Ozzie Newsome of the Ravens. Newsome said it plainly, "On our board, he's a quarterback." The Ravens proved that belief with action. They traded up to the 32nd pick and selected Lamar Jackson. And the rest is history, written with speed, creativity, and a level of talent unlike anything the league had seen. In 2019, his second NFL season, but the first where he was fully empowered as QB1, Lamar delivered one of the greatest seasons in league history. 3,127 passing yards, 36 passing touchdowns, just 6 interceptions, 206 rushing yards, the all-time record for a QB, 7 rushing touchdowns. Result, unanimous MVP, only the second player ever after Tom Brady. And what makes Lamar a true freak of nature isn't just his running ability, it's how he runs. He moves as if he's gliding on air. His spins, cuts, and changes of direction don't look like football highlights, they look like video game animations. Davante Adams once even called Lamar the best ball carrier ever. Not the best QB runner, but the best ball carrier in the entire NFL. Though he has no official 40-yard dash time, his 2017 Pro Day reportedly clocked him at 4.34, faster than many true wide receivers. And anyone who has watched the tape knows that number is believable. But what transformed Lamar from a dangerous dual threat into a 2-time MVP is his growth as a passer. In 2023, he threw for 3,678 yards, 24 touchdowns, and just 7 interceptions, enough to win his second MVP. Then in 2024, Lamar reached an entirely new level. 4.172 yards, 41 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, and he broke Michael Vick's career rushing record for quarterbacks. Defenses were trapped in a no-win situation. Stack the box to stop his legs and he'd slice them apart through the air, drop back to defend the pass, and Lamar turned the game into a 100-meter sprint. There was no right answer. But if Lamar makes defenders dizzy with flexibility, there's someone else who sends them flying backward with pure strength: Penei Sewell. If Micah Parsons and Lamar Jackson are monsters of speed and finesse, then Penei Sewell is a heavy-duty weapon, the kind of player who makes you rewind the film just to make sure you saw it correctly. Wait, did an offensive lineman just block 2 guys at once? Sewell isn't just the best offensive tackle in the NFL right now. He's the type of player defensive ends hate to line up against. His measurables are impressive on paper. 6 feet 5 inches, 331 pounds, 33¼ inch arms. But what makes him a true freak of nature is how he moves with that body. At Oregon, at just 19 years old, Sewell won the Outland Trophy, awarded to the best lineman in college football. 19. At an age when many players are still learning basic blocking technique, Sewell was dominating defenses like an adult playing against teenagers. His combine was cancelled due to COVID, but his pro day numbers were absurd: a 5.09 in the 40-yard dash with a 1.76 in the 10-yard split. Numbers that make no logical sense for someone weighing over 330 pounds. His SPARQ score ranked in the top 1% of offensive linemen in an entire decade. And once he entered the NFL, he proved those weren't just pretty numbers. Early on, the Lions planned to play Sewell at right tackle. Then Taylor Decker got hurt, so they moved him to left tackle, and he played as if he was born for the position. When Decker returned, they shifted Sewell back to right tackle, and he continued dominating. A rookie playing at an elite level on both sides of the offensive line is almost unheard of. What makes Sewell terrifying is the combination of explosiveness and raw power. One punch from him can knock an edge rusher off balance like they were hit by a gust of wind. Clips of him pulling from right tackle, looping inside, and erasing a linebacker with a single hit have gone viral repeatedly. But the moment that made the whole NFL take notice came in a 2022 game against the Vikings. The Lions called a play-action pass while trying to close out the game. Jared Goff rolled right and threw the ball to Sewell, who was running an actual route like a heavyweight tight end. Sewell caught it, rumbled downfield, and trucked a cornerback to get the game-clinching first down. A 331-pound tackle running a route, catching a pass, and trucking defenders like Derrick Henry. Unreal. And then the Lions rewarded him with a record-setting contract. 4 years, $112 million, making him the highest-paid offensive lineman in NFL history, a title he more than deserves. If Sewell is the frontline wrecking machine, then the next player is the one who forced the entire NFL to change how defense is played. Tyreek Hill, the embodiment of speed that shouldn't exist in a human. Tyreek Hill isn't just fast. He's fast in a way that makes people wonder whether someone should double-check his DNA. In a league full of the world's elite athletes, Hill still looks a level faster. There's a reason they call him the cheetah. Hill's speed before he entered the NFL was nearly mythical, a 4.29 in the 40-yard dash, and that was just the beginning. In high school, Tyreek ran the 100 meters in 10.19 seconds, a time good enough to qualify for the Olympic trials. With that kind of speed, even cornerbacks who run 4.3 might as well be slogging through mud. But what makes Tyreek a true freak of nature isn't just straight-line speed. It's his ability to go from 0 to 100 almost instantly. Hill can be walking, taking a lazy step, and then explode with an acceleration burst that forces the camera to refocus. Defensive coordinators often joke that you can't teach anyone to cover Tyreek. You can only try to limit the damage. In Kansas City, he was the spark that made Patrick Mahomes nearly unguardable. The combination of Mahomes' arm talent and Hill's speed created football that felt borderline unfair. A random scramble could turn into a 60-yard touchdown just because Tyreek changed direction slightly. But when he moved to the Dolphins in 2022, Tyreek's career reached an entirely new tier. In Mike McDaniel's system, which prioritizes motion, leverage, and speed, Hill became the most dangerous offensive weapon in the NFL. The numbers prove it. 2022, 1,710 yards, a franchise record. 2023, 1,799 yards, led the NFL Next Gen Stats recorded speed, 23.24 miles per hour, the fastest of the chip tracking era. And the most incredible part, Hill isn't just a deep threat. His routes are razor sharp, and he can change direction 90 degrees at speeds that would make normal humans lose balance. Despite being only 5 feet 10 inches, he's incredibly strong. His post-contact balance looks like something out of a gymnastics routine. Tyreek once said, "I don't think anyone on this planet can cover me one-on-one." And honestly, most defensive coordinators agree. Because to cover Tyreek, you don't just need to be fast, you need to predict the future. From someone once doubted for his height and small school background, Hill has become the league's constant nightmare, a player who can reshape an entire defensive structure simply by standing on the field. And if Tyreek is the embodiment of speed, then the next player is the embodiment of pure explosiveness, someone who can jump higher than anyone wearing shoulder pads, DK Metcalf. Saquon Barkley is the embodiment of backfield explosion, a biological anomaly in the literal sense. When you look at Barkley, you immediately understand why coaches say he was built in a laboratory specifically for the running back position. At Penn State, Barkley was already a myth, a 605-pound squat, a 405-pound power clean, a 41-inch vertical, and a 4.40 at 233 pounds. Those numbers don't belong to any one position, they belong to a super athlete. And the 2018 Combine only took the legend further. 4.40 40-yard dash 29 bench reps 41, inch vertical 132, inch broad jump. Barkley's RAS, relative athletic score, came out to a perfect 10.0, meaning that in decades of combine data, no running back has ever matched his total athletic profile. But Barkley isn't just a weight room monster. He's the type of player where the difference is obvious the moment he touches the ball. The instant acceleration, the razor-sharp cuts, the hydraulic press power, and the almost unbelievable balance. When Saquon hurdles a defender, something he does so often that it's basically a signature move, you forget that he weighs more than 230 pounds. A Barkley hurdle looks more like a 110m hurdler in track than an NFL running back. It's no surprise Dion Lewis once said, "Saquon isn't a normal human being. I don't know what species he is." But what makes Barkley a true freak of nature is the extremely rare blend of power plus speed plus agility plus balance. Most running backs have two of those traits. Saquon has all four, and at levels that force defenses to rewrite their entire game plan. As a rookie, Barkley delivered one of the greatest debut seasons a running back has ever had. 2,028 yards from scrimmage, 91 receptions, an NFL rookie RB record, 15 touchdowns, offensive rookie of the year. And it wasn't just running. Barkley catches the ball like a legitimate receiver. He can run wheel routes, angle routes, seam routes, and snag passes over linebackers as if he were a 6'0" slot WR. Injuries may have slowed parts of his career, but he never lost the traits that made him a phenomenon. In 2022, Barkley roared back with 1,650 yards and carried the Giants to the playoffs, proof that his athletic freakishness never faded. That's why Saquon is considered one of the most complete athletic prototypes the modern game has ever seen, a player who can change a game on a single cut, a single leap, or a single touch. Tom Brady is the embodiment of perfection under center, a logic-defying phenomenon in the truest sense. When you watch Brady play, you instantly understand why coaches say he was programmed to be a quarterback. At the Combine, Brady wasn't a legend of 600-pound squats or 40-inch verticals. He was slow, weak, and produced one of the most underwhelming workouts in NFL history. But that's exactly what makes Brady's rise legendary, because everything he became didn't come from elite genetics, but from obsession with detail, discipline, and flawless tactical intelligence. Brady doesn't run a 4.40 but he reads a defense in milliseconds. He doesn't bench 29 reps, but his quick release is an NFL standard. And while he can't jump 41 inches, he owns something most quarterbacks never achieve: near-perfect consistency in every single decision with the football. If Saquon is called a freak because of power and explosion, Brady is a freak of perception, calculation, and decision-making. Every drop back, every pump fake, every tiny adjustment to a receiver's route, all of it is optimized until there's no margin for error. What makes Tom Brady a monster in the football world isn't superior genetics. It's his ability to turn natural limitations into competitive advantages. Most players rely on physical traits. Brady built a career relying on something only a handful of athletes on earth possess: a mind that processes the field like a tactical CPU, paired with a competitive fire that never runs out. What truly makes Tom Brady a freak of nature in his own unique way is the rare combination of vision, discipline, leadership, and consistency. 4 traits most quarterbacks are lucky to have 1 or 2 of. Brady has all 4, and at a level that forces every defense to change their structure the moment he steps onto the field. Age once led many to question how much longer he could hold on, but Brady never lost the qualities that made him great. At 43, he moved to Tampa Bay, and immediately delivered his 7th Super Bowl, proof that his greatness didn't age, it sharpened. And that is why Tom Brady is considered one of the most complete athletes in modern sports history. A player who can change a game with a single decision, a single coverage read, or a cold-blooded final drive. Tom Brady is not the product of superhuman physical traits. He is the product of spirit and intellect operating at a legendary level.